So I want to talk about draw length and show you how to measure your draw length, because this is something you're going to need to know before you make your bow, because you have to factor in your draw length into the measurements and everything when you're making your bow. Some of you might already know your draw length, but this is how you measure it. It's basically measured from your anchor point, wherever you anchor when you're at full draw. I anchor with my finger in the corner of my mouth. Some people might anchor back by their ear, whatever. But wherever your consistent anchor point is, you measure from there, the knock, at the end of the knock of the arrow, where it's on the string, to the end of your knuckles on the bow. So for me, you can use a yardstick, or you can just use a full-length arrow and then draw back, have a buddy mark it with a pin, and then draw down and then measure the arrow. Or you can do it kind of like this with a yardstick. So I go all the way back to where my pinky is at the corner of my mouth, and that's my draw length right there. Okay. So that's how you measure your draw length. I wanted to go over that. In one of the previous videos, we talked a little bit about wood, and I forgot to mention, so I talked about woods here in the Northwest. There's a few I didn't mention, like wild plum, that kind of thing. But you might be in a totally different part of the country or a different part of the world. I don't know exactly what kind of woods you have where you're at, so it's hard for me to recommend woods for you. But generally, most fruit and nut trees will make a bow. You just have to kind of ask around and find out what bowyers in your area use. For this series, we want to use basically what I consider white woods. So there's woods that have a sapwood on them, and are hardwoods. And this is Osage orange. So when you make a bow out of Osage orange, what you have to do is, these are the growth rings in the tree, and you get this dark wood and then this lighter. And to make a bow out of Osage, you want thick dark wood and very thin light wood. It's your early and late growth, and you don't want real thick light colored wood and really thin dark colored wood. That's not really great for a bow. But with Osage and some of your woods like mulberry, black locust, things like that, you have to find one of these growth rings inside the tree, take the sapwood off, and cut down until you get to one of these thick growth rings, and follow that along the entire back of your bow to make the back of your bow. And that's very difficult for beginners, so I don't recommend it for a beginner bow. Now, if that's all you have in your area, then you might have to use that. But woods like this is chokecherry, this is serviceberry, these kind of woods, they don't have a sapwood. You remove the bark and the inner bark, which is called the cambium layer. You remove that, and there's this dark here is a little bit of the cambium layer left. But you remove that without cutting into the actual wood, because there is no sapwood. You remove that bark, and then that becomes the back of your bow. So you don't have to follow one. You already have one growth ring right on the back as soon as you're through the bark. And that makes it a lot easier to make your first bows. So I recommend finding a whitewood. Hickory is one that grows a lot of places. There's hop hornbeam, I know, grows on the East Coast. Anyway, find out in your area what kind of woods there are. But if you find a whitewood without a sapwood that you can use for your first bows, that's what I recommend. And then you can go into doing things like Osage and mulberry and those kind of woods. And I'll probably go over that in future videos on how to follow a growth ring, that kind of thing. But anyway, so now we'll get on to laying out a bow and start working on a bow. Thanks.